You ever wonder why we actually follow this ufology business? Cue the music. Hey, this is Manny Moonraker, and this is episode number 7171 of the UFO Report. Now, I'm going to start this off by saying there's a reason why I said that, and you'll see that in the first news article. But in the meantime, let me just remind everyone that the rubber dickies are getting close to ending. If you haven't had a chance to vote, you need to go to ufobusterradio.com and put in your vote for the rubber dickies. Because pretty soon, we'll be choosing the main rubber dicker of the year, and you don't want to be left out in that situation. You want to put in your vote because it's very possible that your most hated or /loved rubber dicker is not going to be acknowledged because you slept on it. You didn't make that decision to visit the website and pick 3. I mean, you don't even have to pick 1. There's plenty of rubber dickers to go around. So you don't even have to fight with yourself. Pick your top 3 rubber dickers and go to town. Submit. View to see if you made a difference. Because on December the 15th, that rubber dicker will be announced whether you get in there to vote or not. So don't miss out. Now, in the spirit of the rubber dickies, which is of course the UFO Buster Radio award situation that's going on, I decided that there are people out there listening that have been contributors to the podcast since its inception back in 15. Since 2015, we've had people who have contributed and have come on the podcast and things like that. Now, there was one person who was voted for a rubber dicky, but I decided that the categories should include a rubber dicky for those that are top contributors for the podcast for the year. Now, next year, we'll open it up to voting in general, and that voting will occur on UBR Truth Seekers. But this year, I selected a couple of individuals who are members of UBR Truth Seekers right now, who've actually been contributing to the podcast since way back when, actually. They've been pretty active, and I think that should be acknowledged as well. I can't do this all by myself, and when I have folks that listen and also contribute, that's got to be acknowledged, right? I mean, come on. But you don't see these things in any other podcast. Name any other podcast that gives an award to its listeners. If you want to know who won, you're going to have to join UBR Truth Seekers, and those awards are going to be arriving here shortly. And when they do, they will be announced on UBR Truth Seekers, the winners of the 2017 Rubber Dickies Top Contributor Award. And join UBR Truth Seekers anyway. You might just be in the running next year for this amazing award. Now let's get to our story. So this story is one of those that makes you wonder, why the hell is it that we're even following ufology? Why are we even fascinated by this? Because there come these stories where you're thinking, who the hell in their right mind decided to print this? Who decided that this was a real ufology type of story? That this really needed to be put out on the internet for people to read, for people to come across? Let me just read you what the title of this particular article is. Tits Out of This World UFO. Okay, I did. I said tits. T-I-T-S. Tits. That's how this article starts. Tits out of this world UFO hunters in a frenzy over a bizarre alien spaceship that looks like a boob on Google Maps. I'm going to let you guys digest that because I know some of you are out there, you're kind of picturing what this looks like. And as a matter of fact, you don't have to picture too hard. Look down at your mobile app. I included the picture of this so-called UFO boob as part of the show, picture, the show logo, whatever you want to call it. But there is a space boob right now on your phone. You may want to cover it a little bit. I don't know where you're at right now. You don't want to let people know that you're looking at space boobs at your phone right now. But apparently down in Australia, a so-called spaceship hunter by the name of Dean Stocks was left utterly and completely stunned when he spotted a busty object floating above the Australian outback on Google Street View. I take it he doesn't see very many boobs, and I guess probably not many floating in the sky. But anyway, according to this, the mysterious object shaped like a boob has sent the alien enthusiast into a frenzy after it was spotted hovering over Australia. Now listen, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't know. I don't see a boob. I don't know. Maybe in Australia, boobs look like this. So, Mr. Stocks was really worked up about it. But I don't see how the internet's worked up about it. I don't see how enthusiasts are so worked up about boobs. Well, yes, I can see boobs, but I can't see space boobs that are UFO ships. That makes no sense to me. And if the story really wasn't ridiculous enough, Mr. Stocks says, I know all the conspirators will have their say. It will be a reflection of the Tennant Creek water tank or something like that. So apparently this flying boob was somewhere out in Tennant Creek in Australia. Now someone did step forward, an astronomer by the name of Jeff Carr, and he flat out said that this boob was photoshopped into the picture. Now listen, I never heard of boobs being a UFO thing. This is the first time I've ever heard it. But apparently, according to Mr. Dean Stocks, he's heard of this before, that sky boobs are apparently a thing. He read it in some kind of a magazine. And of course, he was totally breathless about the fact that he just happened to come across a sky boob. So there you go. The real mystery here is who put their boob on Google Maps? That's what I want to know. That's the mystery. Check out this message from our sponsor. Hey, this is Manny Moonraker with UFO Buster Radio. I want to tell you about a podcast I think you guys would absolutely love. It is the Physical Attraction Podcast, and it tries to explain physics one chat-up line at a time. From the laws of nature to the end of the world. You can find the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. In addition, they're on social media, so don't forget to follow them on Twitter @PhysicsPod. Now, before we get to the next article, I just saw something fascinating. Apparently, Sony Pictures and 11th Hour is a television production company in the UK. They're going to release a kind of like a mini-series based on the Rendlesham Forest incident, which is going to be fascinating. The thing is that it might be loosely based because apparently the backstory on this has to do with some kind of a family drama. We really don't read about that side of things when it comes to Rendlesham Forest. However, this is what they're doing. That's what's going to happen. So the folks in the UK, you're going to have a treat somewhere down the line. And that is a story related to Rendlesham Forest and the UFO incident of the 1980s. All right, so the next story also takes us into the UK, and basically it has to do with someone that apparently sat quiet on a UFO mystery that happened 65 years ago. The article is titled, Alien Proof British UFO Witness Breaks 65-Year Silence on Mystery Flying Objects. According to this, the individual finally broke their silence after witnessing UFOs in a remote part of Yorkshire. The woman, by the name of Irene Kane, is 80 years old. she pretty much has not spoken about this since the incident happened back in 1952 in Batley. And the retired woman apparently told her son Daniel, who was hoping to make a CGI film about the close encounter in a bid to jog memories of her classmates. And there's a problem right there, right? I mean, she's 80 years old. How many of her classmates are even still around? She might be the last woman standing. So the story goes that at the Princess Royal School, the pupils had followed their teachers outside and watched a formation that flew overhead. This was prompted by someone who shouted, "Look at that." The objects were described as looking like short, fat cigars, but were white in color and easily visible against the bright summer sky. So very possible there was some kind of metallic object or something, but there was some. So here it is. If you live in that area or went to that school back in 1952, Irene Kane and her son Daniel need your help in order to put this story together and figure out, was it real? Were there mushrooms for lunch that day? Was the variety of lettuce Mary Jane? I don't know. But apparently the teacher at the time decided to tell the students that more than likely this was some kind of a military thing that was going on that they witnessed. And basically, as they say in ufology, she poo-pooed it off. So basically, that's where it went. However, Irene Kane is convinced that this was not military. It was from 4.2 far. And so that's why she decided to come out at the age of 80 and, talk about it. And if you do the math, she was 15 years old. So I would think that a 15-year-old, doesn't know everything, but she'd be able to tell the difference between something that is, 4.2 far or not. I would think maybe, I don't know. But the kicker to the story is this, because Daniel was so convinced that this is a true story that he says this, and I quote, I tried to take my mom to the site in the summer, but sadly it was locked up tight, understandably, with it being a school, as my mom in a wheelchair could not scale the banking to try to get a better view. So, Daniel is serious. Like, he was going to get his mom to climb into the damn place in order to get a view of what the hell was going on. You can't write this stuff. Or was it going to get under her and push her over, wheelchair and all? Listen, somebody help them. Somebody in the UK come forward, convince your aunt, your great aunt, your grandma to help Daniel out, because he's gonna get his mom hurt. He's gonna push her over something. She's gonna fall over, and then that's it. The story's done. No one's gonna know anything. So keep hope alive. Keep Irene Kane safe. Get Daniel some information before the shit hits the fan. I want to thank you guys for listening. This is UFO Buster Radio, report number 71. And as always, follow the podcast on Twitter at UFO Buster Radio, on Instagram at Manny Moonraker, Facebook pages UFO Buster Radio and Manny Moonraker. And last but not least, if you feel froggy and you want to talk this shit, join UBR Truth Seekers and put your 2 cents where it matters. I'll catch you guys later.